Hey Alaska, I just got off the Senate floor voting for the targeted relief package that we had put forward as part of our continuing efforts to help our economy and help our frontline providers address the health challenges of the pandemic. I just spent the last 5 weeks at home, and the priorities that I heard from Alaskans was very much in this bill. It was targeted. So, for example, a new PPP program for our small businesses, significant funding for schools and hospitals and community health centers, and more for vaccinations and testing, $10 billion for the Postal Service, a whole bunch of other issues in here, an additional $500 million to replenish the Fishermen Relief Fund that I had gotten in the original CARES Act, liability protections for nurses and frontline health workers, community health centers, small businesses, universities, to make sure that if people are starting to open up, there's not an epidemic of lawsuits against them. Child care, which is so important as we open up the economy. So this was a targeted bill. Still significant spending, about $300 billion total new spending. That's compared to the $3.5 trillion of the so-called HEROES Act that Speaker Pelosi put forward and Chuck Schumer are insisting on that we move forward on in the Senate. Unfortunately, none of my colleagues from the other side of the aisle voted for this targeted relief bill, although most of these provisions are very bipartisan. We're not going to support the so-called Pelosi-Schumer HEROES Act. Although there are provisions in there that match some of what I just talked about, there are many. Over 1/3 of that bill has nothing to do with the pandemic. There's huge tax breaks for some of the wealthiest Americans in that bill. There's direct relief payments for those who are not here legally. That's not a priority for Alaskans. And importantly, but very disturbingly, there's a whole section in the so-called HEROES bill that would claw back any CARES Act money that is going to certain Alaska Native organizations. Targeting Alaska Natives, completely inappropriate, and I've said that will never pass in the Senate floor, although it passed in the Pelosi-led House. So, disappointed that the targeted relief package that I believe really addresses so much of what our state needs right now, including a provision to extend the deadline of CARES Act spending until about a year from now, the end of September 2021. All of that was in there. All of that, I believe, were things that our fellow Alaskans need, regardless of party. Unfortunately, Chuck Schumer made it clear nobody was going to vote for this, and it's a missed opportunity. We'll keep working. We'll try to get compromise. But the so-called HEROES Act, the $3.5 trillion Pelosi-Schumer bill, is not going to move in the Senate. We thought the compromise moment was now, and we'll keep working on this.